really fun episode.
It
Yeah.
was.
Yeah.
And I know you have some
100%.
fun things planned for us today too, don't you?
Oh, yeah. Like, we have a lot to talk about today. I mean, we're definitely going to be talking about the election. Obviously, that's going to be pretty much the whole show today, just because it's
Mhm.
such a big deal. The whole world is watching it. But as usual, Sam and I, we always bring you the latest in entertainment. But yeah, the big topic today is definitely the election, where the race between Joe Biden and Donald Trump is razor thin. Everyone's eye is on those electoral votes, which are currently in favor of Joe Biden. He has 264. You need 270 to win. He's got 264, and Donald Trump is at 214. So it's getting very, very tight, but it's been really exciting so far to see it go down. So are you surprised at the results, Sam?
I'm actually very, very surprised. I mean, I'm not surprised that Joe Biden is winning, but I'm surprised that, Donald Trump is even has that many people who voted for him. He's still in the 200s, as you said. You said 214?
Yeah, 214.
214. So that's still like, I thought it would be like a drastic difference, but being so close and up, it just makes it almost feels like a scary place in the States, like there's those people who still voted for him out there who have the same values and may not support other kind of groups out there. So it's a really interesting thing right now. And I know, like, I think this is the first time that Joe Biden, I think it's like over 70 million people has voted, like the first kind of presidential election presidential election that has that. So I mean, it's really exciting. All over my Twitter, every single Canadians have been like keeping up with it. Super exciting.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, 100%.
Mhm.
I totally agree with you. I was super surprised at the results so far because the media and pollsters, they were constantly reporting that it was going to be a landslide victory for Joe Biden, which
Mhm.
absolutely is not the case, obviously. If anything, I've never seen the country more divided than this. If there's one
Mhm.
thing I've learned over the past 4 years, though, you can never count out Donald Trump until the election is over. Because I don't know if you saw what happened in 2016, but Hillary Clinton, she had that massive lead. Then all of a sudden, Trump stormed back and he eventually won the election. And, this could
Mhm.
still happen right here in 2020. So we'll have to wait and see. Certain key states are still to be decided, and they're
Mhm.
obviously going to be contested as well. And there is a narrow path for Trump to be reelected.
I
So,
mean, wait, hold on. So wait, when you were just talking about the whole debate before with not debate, the election with Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump, are you talking about like towards the end? Like, did he just catch up? Like, I know like they're done voting, right, in the States, right? It was November 3rd, right? So
right,
like, is there
they are
still
still
possibility?
counting. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. So they're done voting, but they're still counting those mail-in votes. As long
So
as
you're saying
they're
like that gap can be filled within all
exactly,
once they check. Oh
exactly. We
no.
we have no idea. Really, like, yeah, like voting has stopped and the polls have closed, but with
Mhm.
all those early voters and those mail-in votes, who knows what in the world is going to happen? And a
Mhm.
lot of people are saying too that without those mail-in votes, without the early voting, if this was your typical election minus the pandemic, and you got the result on election night,
Mhm.
Donald Trump would have won in a landslide, and that's so
Oh
crazy to me. So yeah, and speaking of Trump too, he's reportedly filing lawsuits in Pennsylvania and Michigan and Nevada. The one in Michigan was turned down, but he's also asking for a recount in Wisconsin. So I just want to summarize what is going on with these lawsuits real
Mhm.
quick, just so then we can talk about them. So in
Mhm.
Pennsylvania, the case deals with whether ballots received up to 3 days after the election can be counted. In Michigan, we all know that one has been turned down, but Republicans were demanding better access for campaign observers to locations where ballots were being processed and counted. And in Nevada, it's about making sure all the votes are legal and aren't coming from those now living out of the state. Earlier today, Republicans were given better access to oversee the mail in voters that are being
Mhm.
counted. So these are the lawsuits that the Trump campaign is filing. Now, the thing is, though, I think all of these lawsuits and requests from his campaign are relatively fair because I feel like when the election is this close and the process was so much different with the mail-in votes and the early voting, I think
Mhm.
if you're Trump, you almost have to look into it. So, do
Mhm.
you think these investigations will find spoiled ballots or fraud or any wrongdoing in Biden's campaign?
Right. I actually have a question because I need some things cleared up for me. So
Yeah,
wait,
yeah.
so I know like I was reading some articles and he's suing or trying to figure out, is he investigating, is he trying to sue the people counting the ballots, Joe Biden, or is he getting mad at the voters themselves? So what is he investigating here? Is it a certain department? Is it just like the people, like I don't know. Is it Joe Biden? Is it the counters? Do you know?
So it it is essentially Biden's campaign. I think they're just trying to make sure that every single vote that's being counted is
Mhm.
legal. And
Right.
that's essentially because like the
So it's
whole
not so
mail-in.
it's not like sorry, because I've been seeing a whole bunch of fake news and stuff, or just news in general. So it's
Mhm.
not the people who are counting the votes and seeing like, did he doesn't think that they're kind of putting in anything that's fraud, right? Because just every so all of it goes through them. Like I don't know, I'm not really political myself, so forgive me for not knowing, but I'm just wondering
You know
like
what?
if
You actually have a fair question there. That is,
mhm,
I've been watching, Fox and CNN, and
mhm,
Fox earlier today was
mhm.
actually stating that they had this lady come on, and she was claiming that someone had stolen her ballots and also her
Oh,
roommate's ballots as well, because she went in to vote and they were like, "You've already voted," and she was like, "Well, no, I didn't," and she would know if she voted. So apparently,
oh my gosh.
someone stole her ballot. So I think Trump's campaign is going to look into that as well and make sure that every ballot was legal and actually was from the person who intended to vote.
Mhm.
But yeah, like a lot of it is just, is it illegal, or and do they still live in the states? And then the rest is, I guess, fraud or any wrongdoing on Biden's part
Wow.
as well.
Oh my goodness. So then my question to you is that, do you think that this is going to delay the whole results of who's going to win then? Because, if
For
you're
sure.
saying that they have to investigate who stole this woman's ballots, if they have to investigate everybody who voted to see, to confirm, did you vote for Trump? Did you vote for Biden? Is this, I know, I thought it was supposed to be delivered on November 3rd, and I know they're still counting, but is this going to be coming like next week, next month, Jen? What's going to happen?
I have no idea. Like, I cannot even tell you when this election is going to end or who's going to win at this point. Like, the whole thing
Mhm.
just seems like a complete circus right now. It seems to
Right.
me like
Right, but I mean, you just said Joe has what is it? Well, how much did you say?
264, and you need
So isn't he just
270.
a couple of votes away from
He is.
270?
He
Oh
is.
my
He is.
goodness. Oh wow.
He is,
Okay, so
but it's very close. It's very very close in Arizona and Georgia and
wow.
so essentially what everyone seems to be saying here is, and
Hmm.
don't quote me on this. This is
Yeah, no,
just
no,
what
no
I've been reading.
worries. Don't
But
quote anyone. Don't quote on here, guys.
we're not political experts. We're just talking about
Just a ringleader
um
and a fortune teller, guys. Just trying to
exactly,
vibe it out.
exactly. But hey, maybe being a fortune teller, you'll be able to tell us who's going to win here.
Well, I'm hoping Joe Biden. But I definitely feel like, as you said, all possibilities are in the air right now.
Yeah.
With all the votes coming in, I guess like this year, I guess it's just different because of COVID-19. Is that why? I guess that's why more people haven't been going to the booths themselves. They've been delivered.
Exactly.
And I feel like if I was in the States, I would probably send mine in as well that way too. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So just
Yeah.
to take that extra precaution. So I get it. And I don't know how many workers they have, counting the ballots and having to stay overnight, because this is the one thing, like, even as I said, Canadian news has been covering this. We've been sitting here like, who's going to win? Who's going to win? And it's not even like our country, but we've been here. So I feel like it's everyone just wants these results. Every morning I wake up, I'm like, did someone win yet? And my mom's like, have a seat, they're still counting, 47,000 left to go or something like that. So it's definitely one of those things though, but for sure. um can you hear me, Jen, at all? No. Okay. Well, hey guys, thanks for tuning in to Life Chats on Zingo TV channel 250 and 251 at 6:30 to 7 every Thursday. I do have everything here as well, but definitely we're still talking about the election. I feel like there's so much up in the air and so much going on. I have the docs here as well. So let me just pull this down while Jen is getting back to us. Sorry for the technical difficulties. So as she was saying, like, there's just so much going on. And I know like a lot of people have voted and stuff like that. And we do appreciate that. But like, I don't even know what we can do at this point as like civilians just to see what's going on. But I feel like with this whole controversy and this whole crisis with Donald Trump and like all of this, I know a lot of people have been getting offended. You know, this has been like rubbing people the wrong way. Look how many elections there has been, you know what I mean? And like to ask for a recount or to get your, I feel like a lot of the face of the whole of Donald Trump's kind of campaign right now is his lawyer just talking about, you know, fraud and stuff like this. So it almost puts like this shame kind of presence, this shame kind of like, I don't even want to say aura, that's like the wrong word, but this shame on the whole election itself. It just feels like this foolery that just happened. So I feel like a lot of people have been like, you know, talking about that on Twitter, have been like upset and everything like that. But, you know, the votes are legit. And, you know, I feel like when, I don't know if there's like a certain procedure that they do to hire the people to count the votes, to get back in there and to start like, you know, dispersing that, like, so that it could be out. I don't know if they have a background check or criminal check, but I don't see why, like, I mean, I do see why like something like that can happen, but you know, it almost, I feel like in my opinion, it almost feels like Donald Trump is being a little bit of a sore loser here, but I don't want to rub anyone the wrong way. It just seems like, you know, after all the presidents have gone through the same thing, Hillary Clinton, everybody else, they didn't really question the whole system, the systematic way that they have to count these votes and stuff like that. But moving on today too, I know she had so much fun questions at the end that she has a hat, like she was going to shuffle it up a bit and definitely get into that. But I'm going to still talk about the campaign a little bit more.
I'm back. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you perfectly.
Yeah,
good. You were
amazing.
just holding it down for you. I was like,
oh thank you. Okay, my internet died, but I'm back. I'm back.
No worries,
Anyway,
no worries. Do not forget to catch us on Facebook then. You can watch like me just like freaking out. Like,
oh, I just heard you for like the past like 15 seconds, but I was waiting for my video to catch up. So I was like, oh man, you're killing it. Listen to you. But
yeah, so continue then.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, so touching on the election. So here we go. Where do we leave off here? We were talking about
after I was just talking about like my opinion about like, you know, after how many presidential elections have we had, but like this is kind of like a big crisis kind of one where, you know, people are saying like, you know, it's rubbing people the wrong way that he wants a revote, a recount, or, you know, whatever, and wants to sue and stuff. It almost feels like he's being like a sore loser in a way, almost like that. Like, I get it. Like, you know, there's always suspicions going on. I know a lot of people like were saying things before, but I just feel like, you know, it almost, I know a lot of people have been speaking out about this, saying like, you know, I don't know. Do you know anything about the procedure or background checks that they do for the vote counters and stuff like that? Do you know, like,
you know,
it almost seems like he's accusing the system itself, right?
So I think I don't know too much about background checks or anything like that, but I think what Donald Trump is worried about is that, you know, on a typical election, you vote in person, you get the results ASAP, and that's it, right? But I think what he's so concerned about is all of the mail-in votes that are coming in after election night. So I think he's saying like, now I think they have a rule where if it's dated like before November the 3rd, it counts as a vote. But I think what Trump is concerned about is, you know, all these mail-in votes are coming in, and when does the counting actually stop? Like, are they actually cutting them off on November 3rd? Or are they just going to keep counting until, you know, until God knows when? So like, I think that's why he's filing lawsuits and looking into it. I know it's very common that if a candidate loses a state by like less than 1% or like 1%, it is common to ask for a recount regardless of how the system is set up. So I don't blame Trump for wanting a recount in states like, you know, Michigan or Wisconsin or anything like that.
Of course. But and I know you asked me the question, like, you know, what do I think about these investigations and like the whole Biden campaign? But I mean, do you feel like they'll find, you know, fraud in this, or something different. Like, I can understand why this can be a scary time for Donald Trump. You know, like, I was talking about this yesterday on Lavish, like how they're now coming in. I think they spent over $29,000, you know, to have COVID cleaners come into the White House, and now they're cleaning the West Wing, the East Wing. So, you know, him being in there is just like, oh my gosh, is this getting cleaned out for Camilla and, you know, Joe? Like, what's going on? You know, so I can understand why it can be scary. And it's like, I don't want to leave this yet. I still want to, you know, continue protecting and serving. I'm sorry, like I say protecting and serving like that, just because like I don't feel like he's been protecting and serving everyone. I feel like certain people, yeah, but everyone. So I don't know. I can understand it's a scary time, but what do you think about this Biden campaign and the fraud ballots and stuff like that?
Well, I think it's very possible that they will find spoiled ballots or even potentially fraud. I think it is possible because there have been some examples, like in Philadelphia, where a block of mail-in votes, I think there was 23,000, were all for Biden. So that means not one vote for Trump, like not one. And that just seems a little bit sketchy to me. And similarly, there have been even larger blocks of votes in Nevada. I think it was approximately 300,000 were counted at 3 a.m., where Republican poll watchers didn't even have access to the counting process. So there was, you know, counting going on, and Republicans weren't even able to see it. And I find that a little bit sketchy. So it wouldn't surprise me if there was a little bit of fraud or spoiled ballots found.
So what would happen then? What would happen then? So if they were to find a whole bunch of these fraud ballots, you know, because that does seem a little bit suspicious. Not one vote for Trump in Pennsylvania there, as you were saying. So does the whole thing start all over again? Does Joe get in trouble, or does the people who own like the voting facility there kind of get in trouble? Like who does this go? Who does this get pinned on? What happens?
Well, I think what happens is, depending on the number of votes that they find are spoiled ballots, or if there's fraud going on, I think those number of votes would then get flipped. So I think those states that are heavily favoring Biden would flip over to Trump. Essentially,
they flip it over automatically to Trump.
I believe so. I think it would flip. I think Biden would lose those votes, and if he loses, you know, like 300,000.
Could they neutralize it, which would make it more better? Do you know what I mean? It's just like you find a spoiled ballot for Sam, and then it's automatically goes to Jen. It's like, couldn't we just neutralize it so that I don't get that vote instead? And then
I know what you're saying. Yeah, I know what you're saying. I'm not 100% sure. It'll be interesting. Like, I've heard so many different stories. I've heard that Biden loses the votes. Then if there's fraud all over the place, they might have a re-election in person only, and like it could start all over again. Like, I've heard a lot of different stories. Like, no one really knows for sure like what would happen. But it wouldn't surprise me.
I think it's so crazy too. Like I feel like a lot of people have been shaming people for just being at home, you know, during this time, trying to send theirs off. But I don't know. I feel like this is just crazy. I mean, I don't know. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, that's totally fine. But anyway, like with the election and how close it is and how divided the country is right now, it's like it's getting so tense, and everyone's really stressed out. And you know what? I think on a show like this, we've covered the election, but I kind of want to have a bit of a laugh right now. I want to end this off where it's like, let's just get rid of the election for now. Let's just take our minds off of it. Let's have a bit of a laugh. We have about 5 minutes left. So I got this little hat.
I know.
And keep in mind
about your hat. Woo!
Oh yeah, this hat's gonna change like every episode. By the way.
Oh wow. Oh yeah. Are these your hats too?
This one, I don't know whose hat this is. I literally I have no idea. It has like this thing hanging down. So like I don't think anyone wore it. I don't even know.
Okay.
But but anyway, so I have these random questions. I just looked up online like the random questions
and random hats. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. So I looked that up online and I put some random questions in this hat. So I'm just gonna pick one out and we'll answer it.
Okay, give it a good shuffle. Give it a good shuffle on screen. Come on.
Here we go. All right, here we go. So I'm gonna pull this one out. Let's see what this one's asking us. See, this should be your job because you were like the fortune teller. This should be your job. All right, ready for this? It is, what's the best Wi-Fi name you've ever seen? I don't know if you can read
What's the best Wi-Fi name I've ever seen? Oh my goodness. Okay, you go first. So the best Wi-Fi name I've seen, there's two.
So I used to live in this condo downtown Toronto on Gerrard Street. It
Mm-hmm.
was kind of like associated with Ryerson. So it was like a
Mm-hmm.
student complex. So when you have all these students living in a building, there's like ridiculous Wi-Fi names. And I remember I was in room like 532 and I was setting up my Wi-Fi and I'm reading through this massive list of Wi-Fi networks. And this
Just reading through. Is that what you do in your spare time? Just reading
I was just like
through it?
read them. I'm like, where do these people get these things? So then so room 531 had a Wi-Fi network, and this was the name of it.
531. Way to just out their address here,
Right,
everyone.
right
If you
next
haven't been
door.
there,
Right next
531.
door. So 531 right next door had a really funny name, and it was literally this: 531 got internet, y'all.
Oh.
531 got internet, y'all, and that's legit.
Oh my goodness.
All right, your turn. Go.
Oh my goodness. I feel like the word best is what's triggering me off because I'm like, what's the best one? I don't think I've ever seen one that's like so like best. I've seen some weird ones. Like I think the recent one I just seen the other day, like when I was in the lobby just trying to connect to Wi-Fi was because I was trying to connect because it's right above me. I mean, but yeah, it's right above when I'm in the lobby. That's what I mean. Was pizza juice. And I was like, what does that mean? Pizza juice. Can you imagine? And I was like, what is this? And I was like searching it up.
Interesting.
Right? It was weird, but it's not the best. But like yours was pretty good. Like, 531, you got Wi-Fi, y'all. Oh my goodness. Did you end up going to 531?
I did not. I never met the creators of that Wi-Fi network.
Wow.
But I just assumed that like they were like partiers because of the internet name. Like, 531 got internet, yo, like massive partiers. But like I never heard a peep out of these people, and I lived right next door. So like I have no idea.
Was it locked too? Was the Wi-Fi locked?
It was. So I don't know what the password was. But another one I saw on that list was actually pretty good. Was pretty fly for a Wi-Fi. That one's up there
pretty
too.
Fly for a Wi-Fi. That one rhymes too.
I know. That's so I liked that one.
Oh my gosh! Wow, that's so interesting to think about. I think that when those things happen, it gives you like a small laugh, and you're like, "All right, well, time to get on with the day." So
exactly.
That's really cool that you bring that up. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
What's your Wi-Fi's name? Do you have like an actual code name?
We do. Or? So we have a basset hound named Maestro. So we've called it MaestroNet.
Okay, that's nice.
Yeah, what's yours?
Oh, I think mine's just a whole bunch of numbers and letters, like it's just like some code thing. We don't know how to change it. Do you know?
It's like top secret.
I should.
No, I don't know how to change it actually.
So who changed yours? Did you just like
my parents or my brother set it up or something?
You gotta help me set mine up. I'm gonna Google how to do it now and like probably call it live chats or something. So
that'd be sweet.
To give us a little thing.
That would be awesome.
But I know we have a minute here left.
Yeah, exactly. So on that note, 1 minute left. That's all for us today on Live Chats. So be sure to follow Sam and I on social media. Sam, where can everyone find you?
They can find me on Instagram at Samantha_media and on Twitter at Samantha_media with an extra A at the end. What about you?
Nice. So yeah, be sure to follow Sam, everybody, and me. Well, you can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Jen Connor Music. That's JENNCONNOR and the word music, all one word. So yeah, guys, That's all for us. This show can be heard on the Barnburner Radio Network on its 122 platforms. The H.E.R Network is part of the Barnburner Radio Network. Please check out barnburner.ca for all of the news and programming information. Barnburner, watch it, hear it, read it, download it, and live it. We'll see you next Thursday at 6:30. Thanks so much, Sam.
Thank you.